Are you feeling lost in the chaos of your separation? Feeling like your marriage that you've built this foundation with for a long, long time is all coming to an end? Look, I understand the pain that you're in, and I want you to know that you're not alone. That's why in today's video, I want to walk you through a few strategies that you can use right now to be able to rekindle that spark, to be able to turn things around and see this separation actually as an opportunity for the growth of your marriage and the growth of yourself. So make sure you watch this entire video where I talk you through these 5 actionable and simple steps that you can begin to apply right now to be able to save your marriage whilst you're going through this separation. Now, the first step you need to be mindful of here is to beware the survival brain. See, what happens is when we're in an elevated emotional state, when you're going through this sort of pain that you're going through right now, your brain is literally operating as if you were facing a saber-toothed tiger in the jungle or something. You know, your brain is literally feeling like it's under threat, that your survival, that your very existence is under threat. It's the reptilian part of your brain. So what happens is your brain is going to be always focused on danger. And when we're in danger, what do? We're going to be making decisions where we're coming from fear, where there's stress, where there's anxiety. There's all these different hormonal responses there as well. And so if you go down that path, then the chances are you're going to act in ways that are irrational and are going to prevent you from getting the best outcome. Now, there might be a part of you right now that is so angry and just wanting to absolutely unleash on him. But the problem is that if you do that, it's going to further vindicate the reasons why he may have initiated the separation. It's going to create more and more problems. He's going to then once again feel like, well, this is the exact reason why I wanted to leave. This is the reason why I don't see a future with her, and so on. And you don't want to do that. You need to recognize and acknowledge the fact that, yep, you're afraid, that you're scared, that there's a lot of these emotions, but you need to process them within yourself. And the first step to processing these emotions is to acknowledge the emotions and to find yourself in a place of acceptance of those emotions. Don't resist it. It's when we resist it and we've got these emotions, we're like, oh, I don't want to feel like this, or I shouldn't be acting like that. Or we succumb to our ego. So I always say there's 2 parts of ourselves. There's our ego and there's our spirit. And our spirit is concerned about our higher consciousness and helping us to experience joy and love and laughter and so on. But our ego is only focused on survival. And it's also what we call our social mask. It's who we believe we are. It's our identity that we've created through all of the years that we've been alive. But often it's not really a reflection of who we actually are at the core of us. And when we're caught up in our ego, that's when we're going to react to these challenges in a negative way. That's when those negative emotions are going to come up, and we're going to feel justified in, wanting to put a GPS tracker on him, or send some really, really angry messages and really make him feel like, he hurt you so much and so on. If you go down that path, once again, it's going to actually vindicate his decisions and his emotions at that point in time. We don't want to do that. We want to make decisions from a really calm and centered place. So allow yourself to get to a place of feeling those emotions and really getting to a place of acceptance. And even if you say to yourself, today, I allow myself to come to peace and find acceptance of these emotions. It means you're not trying to change it. You're not trying to get rid of it. You're allowing yourself to have the experience of it. And what you'll find is that as you actually get to a place of acceptance of those emotions, it won't have that same impact on you. And when you're in that place, you won't act on those things. You'll actually allow yourself to have calm, to have poise. And whenever we're in a place of calm, guess what? You make better decisions. If you think about any aspect of your life, have you made really good decisions when you're in a really, really scared and fearful place? Or have you made better decisions when you're calm and composed under that pressure? So really find that place of acceptance first. And then from there, that calmness that you'll feel will allow you to actually act in the best possible way moving forward. You'll get the best insight and intuition in your own mind, because I believe that 99% of our instincts are actually correct. Problem is that often we act from a fearful place, and that prevents us from making the best decisions. But when you're in a calm place, we're always guided. We're always allowing ourselves to make the best decisions for our future. Secondly, make sure you're engaging in really positive conversations with him. Now, I know you're going through a tough time, naturally. It's so painful, and every time you see him, you're going to feel tense and uncomfortable. If you can make sure that before you actually engage in conversations with him, Before you know, you're going to talk to him about the kids or whatever. Get yourself into a better emotional state. Allow yourself to have some positive conversations. Listen to some good music beforehand, or meditate, or spend some time in nature before you engage in conversations with them. And by doing that, you're shifting your emotional state. When you shift your emotional state, what's going to happen is that you're then going to be able to handle the conversations in a better way, whether that's reacting to what he said, or if it's actually just initiating some different conversations. You might want to talk about some funny things that happened, or maybe some funny video you saw on Facebook, or whatever it is. You can start to just bring some lightheartedness into it, because in order for relationships to actually flourish, you've got to be having at least 10 times positive conversations than negative. If there's always problems all the time, then he's just going to see it as, well, my association with her is always stress, there's always anxiety, there's always problems. Now, I'm not saying that you're the problem here, but I think it's really important to recognize if you can just play your part in this, then that can actually start to create a better dynamic between the two of you. So really start to engage in more of those, fun conversations, or just try and avoid getting into anything too heavy at this point in time whilst you're dealing with the separation. I know it's hard. I know that everyone's going through some different circumstances here. But as a general rule, if you can try and engage in the more positive conversations, even if it's some funny stories about the kids, or, might have remembered some enjoyable times between the two of you, not to try and make him feel guilty, but as a way to bring up some, positive emotions and some laughter and so on, that can be a really, really good thing. So engage in more of those types of conversations. Thirdly, if you've got kids, stay engaged about them and their lives. If maybe at the moment you've got separate days that you're looking after them, then what you should do is actually share some of those stories, share some of those things between the two of you. Talk to him about what's gone on and, the funny experiences, or if you've got some funny videos that you took when you were out at a playground or whatever, share those. Include him in some of those things. And you're not doing these things to make him feel guilty or sad or anything like that. Although it can bring up some of those emotions, it just shows that you're not being nasty or, being negative about the whole experience. It just means that you're really holding yourself, you're staying really centered as best as you can, and that you're including him in some of these experiences. And also, if there are some instances where, maybe he can't look after the kids on one particular day, but you can, and then vice versa, and there are some of those experiences, don't be petty about those things. Sometimes I've seen situations where two people can get really nasty with each other about these experiences, and it only creates more of a divide and more pain and more frustration. You want to make sure that the two of you are still maintaining as much of an amicable situation between the two of you. And when you're actually engaging in a lot more of these positive experiences, then that's where there's more likelihood of him actually going, sheesh, what have I done here? I've made such a mistake. All of the clients that I've worked with who've been able to save their marriage, and when there were separations, or even if their partner was with someone else, it always improved when there was positive experiences between the two of them still. Now look, I know a number of you might be listening to this and going, well, what the hell? If he's cheating, or if he said his separation, I don't want to be in it. I don't want to know about it. And that's absolutely your choice. Everyone has the right to be able to operate in that way. But at the same time, I know there's going to be a number of you who might be going through a separation and are really wanting to save this marriage. And you can't just flick the switch and say, nah, that's it, I'm done. Sometimes there's a process and a healing process. And at the moment, you're at this place where you're wanting to make this work. And I honestly think that if you just shut it off, if you turn off that desire and you just carry on and forget about this person, then I honestly think in time, people tend to regret that because they didn't feel like they gave it all. If you're able to put the work in and truly get to a place where you say, you know what, I've done everything in my power, and if this doesn't work out, well then so be it, then at least you'll make more peace with it. You're not going to be feeling all this regret, and you don't want to live a life of regret. You want to make sure you've given it your best chance. So make sure you're staying engaged about the kids and sharing stories and doing all of those sorts of things, because as you do that, then he's going to remember the positive times. He's going to enjoy those things and then think to himself, hey, look, I want to maybe look at giving this another shot. And that's when things can really start to grow and heal and evolve, both individually and collectively. Next on the list, don't lose hope. Like, I know what you're going through is so extremely painful, and sometimes you probably had some hard conversations, or maybe he just hasn't really responded to your messages, or he's flip-flopping quite a bit. Sometimes he's saying that he wants to be with you, and other times he just seems distant and so on. And I get it. It's a roller coaster of emotions, and you're going through so much pain right now. But I really want to reinforce the idea: don't lose hope. Don't give up. Don't give up until you feel like you've done everything in your power, where you've truly made every effort under the sun to make this work. And if at that point you say, look, I've done everything in my power, that's okay. Then you have that right. But until you've got to that point, you want to make sure that you're holding on to that hope. When I think of some of my clients who've been able to save their marriage, one thing a lot of them told me was that, I know Shri, that he's done all of this stuff, but there's something in my gut that's just telling me I have to make this work, that I love him and I just want to be with him, and I know he loves me too. They often hold that feeling on the inside and have held on to that hope. As I said earlier about the survival part of your brain, it's always looking out to try and protect you, to make sure that you don't experience more pain. But unfortunately, what happens is it actually ends up sabotaging our abilities to move forward. We come up with thoughts in our brain that I don't want to keep doing this because I'm just going to get hurt even more, and so on. And I appreciate that. I totally get that and how difficult that is. But you've got to find that courage on the inside. We can't take the right actions unless we hold that conviction on the inside, and that we believe that there is a possibility that things can change. And things absolutely can change. If you're married to a good man, someone with good values and so on, you've just run into some problems over a period of time and may not have necessarily addressed them in the best possible way, change can happen. Yes, there are absolutely examples of terrible people out there, and narcissists and sociopaths. And, those are different individuals that can be a little bit harder to deal with. It can be a little bit more tricky to work through and heal. But if you're dealing with a good man, don't lose that hope. Keep putting in the effort mentally, emotionally, but also physically in terms of the actions that you need to take. And I promise you, if you hold that belief and get yourself into the right emotional state every single day, and you're doing the very best you possibly can, then miracles can happen. True transformation can absolutely happen. And I don't mean being naive here. I mean having a vision, but also being wise to it. Handling the situation in the best possible way using wisdom. And as you combine that wisdom with that optimism, things really can change. Things can absolutely transform in a beautiful way. And finally, step into true detachment. Detachment is one of the most powerful strategies that you can use in any area of life. When we actually get to a place where we say, look, I wanted this outcome, but if it doesn't happen, I'm okay with that. We step more into a place of faith because we know if this doesn't work out, I'm going to be okay. Whereas what happens is when we get so attached to something, it has to happen, then every decision that we make comes from a place of fear. And when we make decisions from fear, we often get the very opposite of what we want. Remember, marriage is part of our life. It's not the whole of our life. Who we are goes deeper than just the things that we're experiencing at a physical level, whether it be a career or sports or marriage or finances or whatever. Who we are is our pure spirit. And we've got to remember that. And when we connect in with that deeper part of us, we recognize we don't need that thing to fulfill us, to make us feel like we're enough. The challenge is for the majority of humans is that we think that we need this thing in order to feel like we are enough and to feel like we are loved. And I get it. Like, I've absolutely been there so many times that I know what that feels like. But I really want you to remember that if you can get to a place of true detachment where you say, if this works out, great. If it doesn't, I'm going to be okay. That sense of just being okay will step you into a place of faith and trust. And when you're in that place of faith and trust, really wonderful things happen. That's when, for those of you who are religious, the divine comes through us and allows things to start orchestrating in the best way possible. Or if you don't believe in that, then just having that confidence in your own self of knowing, look, I'm going to be okay. That's always a wonderful thing. So live in detachment. And some of the best ways that I know to be able to do that is to spend time in nature because it can help us to find calm. Or if you're more mentally inclined, you can always go back in your life and look at all the times in your life where, maybe there are experiences where you wanted something, but you would decide, look, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, I'm going to be okay. And then you suddenly have reference points to be able to look back on to help restore that faith inside where, you say to yourself, look, whenever times were tough in the past and I needed something to work out, they just tended to do it. They tended to work out. So allow yourself to step into that place of true detachment. Speaking from experience, everything that I've ever wanted in my life always happened when I stopped attaching myself to that outcome. I cannot stress the importance of it. Flow with life, surrender. Once again, if you're spiritually inclined, pray, get involved in meditation, surrender at the deepest level and put it in the hands of the universe or God. And it's amazing how incredible things can truly happen when you step into that place. So I hope all these points make sense. I truly believe that the combination of these principles can really help you to get into the best possible emotional state. Remember, emotions are the foundations for any progress in life. You don't achieve anything in life, whatever area it is, without getting into the right emotional state. So make sure you get into the right emotional state and then the right actions can be taken. And really bring more of that lightness into the equation with him. If it's with the kids, once again, just bring more of that positivity into their mix. And I know that's hard. I know you're going through some extremely difficult times. I really do. But if you can begin to apply these principles, I promise you, shifts can absolutely occur. And if you do it slowly but surely every single day, the compound effect will kick in. And before you know it, you'll realize, wow, I'm just feeling so much more relaxed about it. Or, I just genuinely am at peace with whatever happens. And that is the sweet spot that you want to get to. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you've liked it, make sure you hit that like button below. If you want to get more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. And do let me know if you've got any questions or takeaways or comments. Make sure you write them below and I'll respond to every single one of you. Now, whilst you're going through the separation right now, I know it's really, really difficult and really painful. But what I encourage you to do is actually learn a little bit more about male psychology as well, because it's extremely important to understand in a marriage. So below is a video that's going to explain to you the 4 traits that men find wildly attractive. If you can begin to apply some of the learnings here, they can really, really help you to fast track things to be able to save your marriage as soon as you possibly can. Thank you so much. God bless. I wish you nothing but the best in 2025, and I'll talk to you in the next video.